Howdys and salutations, y'all. Sorry about being a little bit slow on the start today, but we're here and we're ready to get back into it. So let's see where we left off. I'm gonna actually go ahead and save this file. I forgot what I called it last time. All right, style revamp. There we go. Yep, so the style revamp. So last time we were doing a few time things just to try to get the hang of how I draw faces, see if I can't figure out ways to tweak it. We found areas to improve for realistic faces. Hey, Dado! Good to see ya. Thanks for dropping by. How have you been? Here, I can... Okay. Like, obviously don't stay up too late if you need to head out. But, like, good to hear from you. Oh, and then there goes the live announcement. See, you beat the announcement. I'm doing good, thanks. Yeah, sorry I was away last week. I had a business trip of all things. But yeah, back at it now. Should be consistent again. But yeah, glad things are going well on your end. I guess, what we've been doing is I've decided it's about time to do another revamp of my style. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, can't miss out on reading manga. Actually, that's why I was 2 minutes late, was I was watching Assassination Classroom. But that's neither here nor there. um, but yeah. So yeah, no, I'm just messing with style stuff, so it's not quite as exciting as the Sword Timber speedruns anyway this go round. Won't be missing as much. Man, I need to fix the stream chat alerts. It should really like actually show those on screen somewhere. I've got a place for them in the overlay up here. Just need to actually have them there. I'll put in my notes of things to fix. But yeah, have a good evening. I won't keep you around too long, but glad to hear from you. See, opening my notes. Putting this in my notes. Need to reorganize all my notes. They're a mess. Cool. Yeah, we'll do that at some point. But yeah, no, I'm just doing some Elden Ring and other fan art really as a way to practice my style a little bit, see if we can't refine it. Hey, there's always the VODs. We post these to YouTube every single time. Like, you're welcome to skim through or say hi, but really, like, get some sleep or some manga and then some sleep. That way you'll have energy for next time. Let's see. See if this new color palette's actually any good. Yes, the eternal pain of choices. Alright, well, it's a good gradient at least. Yeah. I might in the future. I don't know that I've got any planned today. Like maybe Nagisa, but I don't think we're gonna have time to get to it, frankly. Um, haven't done any in the past, but it's something I want to do a little more of. Yeah, anime fan art would be fun, but I'm fairly new to the anime scene in general, so I'm still sort of getting my bearings. Guess that's one good thing to come out of the pandemic was it gave me an excuse to stay inside and watch stuff. Finally caught up on the backlog of things people have been recommending forever. Let's see. Oh yeah, I mean the fandom chase goes back to the dawn of I don't know people liking things. I remember Undertale days, and then before that, and so on. And it's always fun to see what blows up next. Haven't had any fandoms I'm super into right lately. She-Ra was a lot of fun, and DuckTales were a lot of fun when they were airing, but they've both wrapped up now. I guess Owl House is neat. Let's see. This is looking terrifying right off the bat. This is what I get for trying to mindlessly draw with no plans. Oh yeah, this is not exactly how I draw people. That's a stinking nightmare is what that is. Um, um, yeah, no, that's something I need to practice more. Sword Temper has been a blast, but before that I was doing Art Fight and some things. Let me see if I can still doodle salt from memory. Maybe not in like 6 seconds, but... Yeah, like I said, style is something that I'm trying to work on tweaking and improving, because it's still got a ways to go. Nope. A little more reasonable. Neck should run into the ear. This is still looking fairly creepy, to be honest. This isn't exactly going the way I want it to. Oh well. I guess it is Witchtober. I really ought to actually do some, like, art of the witch characters and such. And we can fix this a little bit rather than just a quick sprint at it. There we go. Less scary with the glasses. Not quite as ominous. Really, this ought to be more like that, shouldn't it? Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah, I can do some like quick little fun doodles like this. Um, actual drawings are a tad more tough, which is why I want to practice them a little bit. And some doodles, I kind of need to warm up anyway, so this is perfect. Man, was I drawn with a 6 for this? No wonder it looks so wild. Okay, well, that's fine. Yeah, actually, yeah. You got some great art on there. Most of the stuff I post is on Twitter right now. I need to figure out a way to like auto post across platforms because it takes just like a little too much time to try to update everything all at once right now. So I'm trying to figure out what are the best place to focus my energy. Good enough. I have no idea what I'm even drawing at this point. Yeah, if there's not a way to link the accounts, there should at least be some automated like auto post thing that can do both. Although I'm sure that none of the websites love bots that auto post, so like I'll have to figure out a happy medium there. Anyway, let's see. Make this all a little bit thinner. Not sure that's better. Well, anyway. Just some silliness. Slightly, a little more time, but a little bit better than that one, I'd say. Yeah. Well, let's see. Seriously though, don't let me keep you. I know, like, bed is always a calling. Yeah, have a good night. No, seriously, never feel obligated to stay. It's good to have you, but you know, you gotta have a life outside of Twitch. Have a good one, really. Let's see. Okie dokies then. Okay. Note to self, let's fix actual Twitch chat so it doesn't look like I'm talking to myself in the VODs. I think I just peaked the mic with that. Wow. That's a first. Well, anywho. Okay. That's right. That's what we're doing today. Okay. So we've done some silly little warm-ups. Never a bad thing to do. Something I really ought to do more, to be honest. But now we're going to get to the, I guess, the meat of the program. I don't like the idea of eating my videos. Or dissecting them. In either case, problematic for a number of reasons. What we're actually going to do is just open PureRef. Let me load the scene. A lot of characters that I will share screen on here in a minute. Let me get them up to a reasonable size first. To do technical difficulties, actually, it's just lack of tech savvy on my part. Sorry. Okay. That'll do. Okay. Then let me get it showing again. Hey, it just works. And it just works. Okay, we'll pop this right up here. But okay, actually, let's. Nope, ignore that. Spoilers for some other ideas. I don't actually know how far we're gonna get with this at all. But what I want to do, because it's something I haven't done in a real long time, is some fan art. Just like quick little. I'm not gonna try to rush it, and I'm not gonna try to time it like we did the other one. I just want to see where I'm at if I take a little bit of time, not the full 2 hours, mind. So I'm not going like all in on it, but take a little bit of time and try to draw some characters that are fun. Because as much as I enjoy practicing character design, it's very much a different thing, and I'm sort of trying to go through a lot of different ideas at once when I'm doing that. So I'm less focusing on the quality of the execution. This one I'm trying to say like, okay, let's actually draw Melina from Elden Ring. And yeah, we'll go from there. Whoops. Doop-a-doop. Please. Yeah, that's, there's not a papyrus here, don't worry about that. That's hard mode, because he doesn't have, like, skin, so the proportions are going to be more complicated. Okay, Melina. And if my stream ends up looking terrible, like, let me know, because I've kind of got my reference images sort of over the view. That way I can see chat if anyone pops in, and we don't have, hopefully, awkward repeats of the last time where someone was in here for like 10 minutes and I didn't notice. My bad. So we'll try to avoid repeating that. But yeah, we're gonna see if we can do some actual fan art here. Okay, I guess one more note before we start, before I jump into this. I'll do it while I'm cleaning up my layers, that's fine. Is you may notice that unlike most of my recent streams, we've actually got a pure white blank canvas. Not campus, this isn't a university or like a tech building or something. Oh, man, I really messed with the double click again, didn't I? Yes. Okay. Normally I don't like this, and in fact I still don't, because I think a plain white sheet is the best way to kill your inspiration and ideas immediately. I take one look at this, and it's like looking at a blank page on an essay, and you're like, where do I even start? Introduction outline. There was once a castle, and so it's just the most boring thing ever. It gives you nothing to work with, nothing to play off of. However, I am testing out a new color palette that is specifically a series of muted greenish grays. Not specifically for Melina, just to give it a test. And unfortunately, like they look, well, I think they'll look fine on their own. Part of what I'm doing is testing it after all, so I can't vouch for that. But if we make the whole background this color, it's a very slightly sickly green. And in fact, the lightest one that would normally be the color I choose just feels vaguely off-putting. And like, it's not a bad color, but it's not like energetic, or not even not energetic. It's off. It looks ever so slightly dreary, and that's not really what I want to go for. So let's get a plain white background. We'll use that as our comparison. And then we can see how these look in their own context. So that's what we're going to do, basically. Okay, so this is going to be our... Do I even call it sketch? I'm calling this, like, outline. Not in the sense that I'm going to draw the perfect border of Melina in one go and it'll be an amazing silhouette. That would be an awesome ability, and it is one I do not have. Oh, oops. Maybe a new layer. There we go. Nope. This is a day, isn't it? Let's see. There we go. There, we can draw. Where was I going? Right, outline. I'm not just doing the silhouette. I mean it more like the way you outline an essay or a paper or anything like that. My history background showing when I think about art as an essay. But what I mean is I'm going to try to get the basic components in here, and then we can work out detail and better forms and such later. So step one of that is a pose. Obviously, we've got our reference images, and I could just copy one of those, but that's boring. So instead of that, I'm going to try to actually, because if I do that, then it's almost like tracing. Like, I'm not actually putting thought into how I draw the character, and it'll be less my style. And there's nothing wrong with tracing as a way to practice, as long as you don't post it as your own art, But, like, it's, I'm trying to get at least practice on posing and a few other things, and it's more in your style if you don't have like, the perfect reference of exactly how it looks and where everything lines up, and you have to think about it. So, we're not going to do anything crazy. Let me skim through my sketchbook real quick. I've got a whole bunch of just pose ideas buried in here somewhere. Is that the page? Heck nabbit, I need to label these things. Oh. Bunch of character faces. Lovely. Should really revisit all of them at some point. Where the heck did it go? Of course, I can't find it while I'm live. Hey, there we go. It was only like 100 pages back. Cool. Okay. Well, that is probably not the pose to choose. Let's not do caramel dancing. Fun as that would. Well, maybe let's do caramel dancing. That's such a ridiculous pose, though. You know what? I've got a dumber one. I have a dumber pose, and I'm gonna do it. Okay, let's see if I can get like the basic pose outline here, just sort of worked out in my head. Let's go to 3, I think. So let's see. This I am getting from the ref of my sketchbook, which I don't know if that came from an image or my brain. I want to say it's probably some horrible, horrible hybrid of the two. I want to do someone who's doing one of those like freeze frame jumps where they like jump at the end of the movie and then it freeze frames and runs the credits. But I also want them to be dabbing. This is a terrible idea. I'm going to regret this immediately. Let's see. Actually, here's a slightly better alternative. It's still absurd and nonsensical, but might actually be something that's a little more, I don't know, workable. What the heck are these pose labels? What do I mean by find moss? How is that a pose? Anyway, for another day. Let's see. Okay. Let's do the I was too close to an explosion and jumped and it launched me pose. It's got to be leaning at least a little bit back for that. There we go. That's fairly nonsensical. Which means it'll be interesting and dynamic. And probably a terrible finished drawing, but that's okay! Okay, now that we've sort of got that sorted out, let me try to match up an actual proportions-ish guide for this. And everyone's got a different way that they do it. The way I've got it figured out is, well, some horrible hybrid of systems that I've seen before that I'm sort of throwing together. But basically, you're trying to block out the basic chunks of the body so you can draw it. I like this method because it's a good combination of being, well, once I actually render a little bit of it, it'll be a good combination of actually, like, being quick to draw. Like, it's not a crazy commitment with, like, an absurd amount of detail. But it still follows both, like, the main, I don't know, forms of the person you can actually kind of see when you look at an image. So if you're looking at a reference image, it's like, oh, I get where I need to do my alignment stuff. And it also follows like the main forms of an actual human skeleton, so it's not just a bunch of like weird nonsense. You're actually working with something a little more tangible. Let's see, with this pose, you've got like a lot of curve in the spine, so I almost think the hips are going to be something like that even. And the proportions of this are not particularly correct at the moment. Let me try to judge that a little better at least. I think this is already tapering too much as it gets to the bottom. I'm going to lay off that a little bit. Okay, that's better. Getting away from my line of action here, which is sort of the main line of the pose that I'm using to line everything up against. That's okay, because this one is going to be just a slightly more exaggerated one, which is actually generally good. I don't know what it is in art. A lot of people have commented on it, and I definitely find it's true. If you draw something exactly the pose it looks like in an image or something, it ends up looking like way more flat in your drawing. Like flat and boring and not dynamic. And I don't know why that is. But it's definitely a thing that happens, and so you kind of have to exaggerate more than what you're actually seeing in order to make it work. Let's see. I want this to really have like clear more of an angle is going to make this more of a dynamic pose. So if I even like lean into the tilt of this leg a little bit more, and then of course having this kick back going to help with that. Arms. Good. Oftentimes when I'm getting to this blocking phase, I end up losing I don't know, dynamicism, whatever the heck the word is. But I think that we're maintaining it okay here. Of course, the next phase is the one where everything goes just a little crazy. We'll see. So there we go. Okay. So we've got ourselves roughly a pose. Unless anyone's roughly opposed to it. Okay, I'll stop. But yeah, we'll keep on keeping on with this. And let's move to the next step. So there's one. One is basically the pose. Might as well look at my process while we're looking at my art style and help us find things we can tweak. Two is going to be, I don't know, structures. Structures / forms, maybe. The head angle is going to have to take some changes. That one's going to be interesting. You know what this head looks like a little bit right now? Does anyone remember that old movie Robots? I don't know why, but like this head shape is reminded me. Well, now this looks like actually a different character from Robots, but this one reminds me of the villain a little bit. This one reminds me of one of the main characters. I don't know. I feel like I'm getting ever so slightly distracted. So if that's stage 2, stage 3 is, I don't know, actual body shape. Basically, what I'm going to do for this one is get a new layer. I'm just going to call this one forms. It's close enough for that. Body shape. That's not a letter P, but it's fine. Oh, actually, what I should do is, because I'm going to copy our structures forms. Normally in an actual drawing, these would all just be different layers right on top of each other, so lining up is easy. However, I'm trying to keep my steps laid out. I do this in paper too, by the way. I'd like to see all my process, so I end up redrawing the thing like 6 times. But in this case, I can just copy it over to a new layer. I don't know. This one's probably going to be like a tire or something. A tire shale. That makes no sense, but we're sticking with it anyway. Body shape. Okay. So, getting back over here, I'm just going to scooch this over, and we'll just... Oh, I should have kept that on the same layer. Hey, good news! We're renaming this back to Body Shale. Cool. Shale under... this doesn't matter. I'm not coming back to some of these layers, so like, naming them in this case probably isn't that important. I just want to be able to sort of see what I'm doing. So this is where we're going to try to actually get like the actual character shape. A little bit, like just a rough human form in here, basically. So going off of memory. Let's see, yeah, I think I want 3 for this phase. And I want, whoops, nope. I do want to be on the correct layer though. Okay, let's see. Don't need to figure out where the rib cage is. I've already done that. Okay. That's sort of like, I don't know, that, stomach, legs. Again, this is not going to be proper precise anatomy, especially, well, yeah. A, we're on Twitch. B, I don't want to be drawing that level of detail. I'm just trying to figure out the basics so that I can figure out how the clothes is going to interact with the body underneath. And you do sort of need to know a rough outline of what's underneath the clothes in order to make that work. Rough outline being the key word there. There we go. That's a foot. Anyone disagree with me? I think we can all agree that's a foot. And definitely not... What is this? A triangle? Anyway. Assuming elbow and we're keeping the same angle. I always go way too bold on the deltoids. That's that upper muscle on the arm. I'm like, yes, this is a reference point. I must make it clear. And then everyone looks like ridiculously buff. And I'm like, what did I do? Let's see, arm sort of does that funky widen thing at the elbow. And then hands are always longer than I expect them to be. Let's try to get a different angle on this one. Yeah, that's better. Now it looks like you were posed like that. Yes, thumb would be on the bottom. I'm holding my arms out right now to figure this out. I guess it would be. Yeah, so this is the right place for the thumb. Cool. I feel like I've gone and made the torso like a little wide. But it could just be an angle thing. 3/4 always does weird things to angles. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, no, I definitely need like a little more taper though. Well, do I? I don't think no. Need to actually practice this sometime. We'll get the roughs in here. These may not be exactly Melina's like shape, but it'll be close enough for our purposes. Okay, foreshortening, so the elbow's only here. So our kind of bumps are going to be like that. Same thing with the hand. Well, I will say this has been a fun pose to draw. It's plausibly a human. Like, this is all clearly wrong. How did they end up so accidentally buff? No matter. That needs to be like, no. That? I don't stinking know. Well, it doesn't matter that much. Do need to figure out roughly where the collarbones and the neck are going to be, though. See, that's too bendy of a neck. That's horrifying. So we need to remember that there are limits to what one can do with one's neck. But I do think we'll be seeing the underside of the chin from this pose, which is interesting. And it's going to be kind of a side view here from the face. Okay, then all the hair. That's fine. His neck is still a little weird. This looks like I'm roughing in an outline for like a He-Man comic or something. I don't know what's happened with that. No matter. More practice is all that's needed there. Okay, we've got that. Whoops. Let me just copy the layer. Yeah, fine, whatever. And scoot it over. Yeesh. And make it a little more transparent. Let's think about the actual outfit now. This is where these reference images are going to come in more handy. And if I'd done a more normal pose, they would have been helpful for other things like proportions, which they still could have been, but then I went and stinking did this. So, okay, hold on. Is the issue that it needs to come out like more here than meet the leg like that? It should theoretically arc in like a little bit under the ribs, not anything crazy. Maybe the narrower rib cage I had way back when was actually, okay, never mind, it was clearly not right. That's gonna connect sort of behind the leg, and this has gotta connect sort of like more here. I don't know, but that would put the belly button up there, which feels way too high up. No clue. Well, anyway. Maybe the leg connection's higher. Well, whatever, it's good enough. Okay. Let's see. Now we're finally getting to an actual draft sketch. People are so stinking hard to draw. Like, I need so much more practice before I'm going to be any good at this. Okay, so let's zoom in on the reference a little bit. Oops, no. Specifically this one, because it's a good reference for most of the outfit. So let's see if we can't figure out exact placements here. So that's, like, we've got the scarf. I'm just going to rough in roughly where that's going to land. And I wish I'd defined an actual waist. It's kind of important when you've got a belt like this. Now, theoretically, it should be somewhere here. That's going to be the narrow point for a lot of the fabric, which is then going to sort of like fold into it. No, more like that. Same deal there. Not following my proportion guide super well, but that's because it's like this section here clearly is like too long. I say clearly, it's taken me an embarrassing amount of time to figure out that it's too long. There we go, we've got tunic. Be a little longer. It's gotta go to the length of that leg at least. But this sort of pose implies that the character is moving, I don't know, forward, not perfectly to the right, but sort of like a I don't know. I'm not sure I can draw a sufficient 3D arrow for this. Nope, not from that line. Something like that maybe, where it sort of curves in. No matter. But the point is the fabric is going to be draping, like if you've got like just a perfect fabric triangle like this, if you then move it to the right, then what happens is the front edge gets sort of pushed back by the wind and the back edge gets pushed back as well. And so you end up with a shape more like this that's flatter on one side and more angled on the other. So that's roughly what I need to do. It's going to be flattened there, and it's going to be flowing a little more on this side, although it is going to get caught on that leg. That's okay. That'll do for that. And then she's got fairly long sleeves too, actually. Man, and this was actually a decent elbow representation. I'll have to remember this way to do elbows. I always do them differently, and like bit by bit, I've been getting closer to something that's actually like decent. Thinking elbows though, my word. Okay. I want it to be baggy, but again, it's got to be sort of like pushed backwards. So I need to make sure that it's kind of flattened against the arm a little bit. Right along the edge of the arm, and then this is kind of a flatter bit drifting back. That's fine. Okay, cool. The scarf line's gotten a little silly, methinks. Now, I could do an exact representation of the scarf from the art, or I can do like sort of the rough scarf stand-in that I always do. We'll do some tweaks to make it more accurate for this specific case. One of those being making sure still to think about the wind direction. It's going to be pressed against the arm here and not fluttering away from it. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now thinking about sort of the center line of action, and this line of action goes way back to here even. You've got this one, and it was a similar line here. So we're just following that same line that we've carried through. That's going to be our center line for sort of the break in this tunic, because we've got obviously this sort of V shape up here, but then also it actually does have a gap down here. Whoops. Let me sort of figure out where one side of that is, roughly, and where the other side of that is. And this pose is going to do interesting things to that, because instead of just drifting mostly close together like it is here, this one's actually going to get pulled in by the wind force and may actually end up going a little bit behind this other piece of it. Happening to both of them, but like this one is going to get sort of dragged backwards, basically. We'll just make it look like this is a particular billow here. That's fine. Cool. Okay, so we've sort of got the rough points for that worked out. Next up, we've got sort of these leather arm guards. Nothing really crazy about them. They're just going to follow the edge of the hand for the most part. That's fine. Oh, I guess I need actual tunic on this side too. Right, wind is going to mean that that's curving backwards instead of forwards. And I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff I'm not accounting for at all that I should if I was going to make this like a perfectly realistic thing, but I'm just trying to get rough physics right because that helps everything be a little more believable. And foreshortened arms are like kind of a pain. Because the actual like sleeve really only ends up going to here, doesn't it? That's fine. We can recreate what we just did. There we go. And then once again, we just have like this little leather arm piece. Goes up to the hand and a little bit over it, but nothing crazy. Okay. Let's see. I don't think this reference image had a good view of the boots, but I think the one below, it's still bad, but it's better. They're just kind of, we'll just do kind of generic leather boots. That's fine. We'll make it soft leather so that it sort of like scrunches up at the bottom a little bit. Gives it some texture. I may remember a little bit of that from my drawing of Salt way back when. I guess the other leg's barely going to be even visible with this. Well, that kind of works out. Oops. Let's see. Okay. We've got roughed in everything but the face. However, the face is important, so we're going to go back to that one. Well, and one other piece that we'll get to. Okay, so kind of like the round chin that sticks out a little bit, and then soft edge to that. Okay. Narrow nose is actually correct. Eyebrow. And we practiced small faces yesterday, and we're going to stick with that for this one. We don't have the space for anything more than that, really. I'm going to lean into a little more hair curl than would probably be visible in the actual, like, this angle. Because I think it's going to help make it a little more recognizably Melina. Although, again, this pose, why the heck did I choose this pose? It could have been worse. Could have been dabbing. Nothing wrong with dabbing, I just don't want to draw that, because that adds a whole different layer of complexity. Okay, this line's not right. If the hair attaches to the head roughly here, but then the wind is pulling it all backwards, we're really going to have, like, kind of lone strand things going on here. That's fine. That one's too much. Nope, that one's also too much. There we go. This really shouldn't be curling up quite as much as it is either. I did like how it looked. Okay, well, it's at least a representation, you know? There we go, draft sketch. Let's do another one. Clean sketch. This is where I take what we just did here. Actually, what I'm going to do instead, I'm just going to duplicate this layer again. That's just going to be our draft sketch copy, and I'm going to bring it down below. As you may have noticed, my style is still more than a little rough when it comes to people, especially when I'm not spending like 6 hours on the person. But what we're here to do is to figure out a baseline, figure out where we're at, and identify specific things to improve. Not just I want it to look better, but like, oh, I want smoother lines, or I want to make sure that feet look a little rounder so that it's like less weird, or like stuff like that. We'll figure out specific details. I didn't. The gloves look like the hands. Oh no, oops. Um, Give me a second. I'm gonna cheat this. Not cheating if I'm the one who already drew it once. Let's just do that. I actually think the hand angles and proportions are pretty decent on that, so I just want to reuse them. Okay. What are you talking about? It had hands the whole time, and I definitely didn't think that the glove ends were tiny little hands for a while. I know from our model we shouldn't be able to see the other foot, but it might help clarify the pose. If we can see like the heel or something, we'll see. We'll see. Because right now that just looks like more sash. We've got our draft sketch copy. Let's get started on the actual final sketch. For the record, I don't do all of this every time I'm drawing a person, although I probably should. But it is pretty common, and it's useful. Okay. So some of this is going to be fairly similar to the final sketch, some of it is not. Let's see, main thing is... Not sure why I'm starting with this piece specifically. But let's put like an actual little bit more effort into some of these. I'm going to actually have some line weight concerns too that I'm going to try to pay attention to. Okay. We can narrow this a little bit, and I think it'll solve some of the weird proportions from earlier. That's the other thing, is you should try to stick pretty well to the sketch where you figured out all the proportions, but sometimes you're like, I see what needs to be fixed now. And so I just move away from the underlying one a little bit, and it definitely never has weird consequences for me later. What are you talking about? Okay. Like that. It sort of implies like a little wrinkle there. Actually, nope, that makes it look like the tunic is hugging the leg, which is not the look I'm going for. Pushing up against it because of wind. Tunic does not have leg holes. That would be a really weird design for a tunic. The wind should be pushing this side a little more, but like taking a little artistic license with it. Mainly because I kind of like the idea of this one ending up behind it, and this one needs to be fairly far forward still for that to happen. Although I guess this one could also just be pushed fairly far back. Still, well, no. Proportionally, we know the leg ends up like here. So, a little bit of a wrinkle. That's fine. This music feels vaguely circusy. Let me see. Wario's Gold Mine. Yep. Fair enough. Okay. Then a few things. Let's look at the actual reference for this here and get a little more of the detail, shall we? Not too much, because this isn't actually a very big thing. Let's see. Yeah, see, we can't fit too much in here, really and truly, but we can do like a little bit. Apply some stuff with shadows. I don't want to mess with shading too much until later. Okay, and then the other thing is the hand. See, from this angle, we the thumb should really kind of have that sort of inner curve and then out. Slightly more of a cupped hand than I necessarily planned. Let me see if I can tweak that a little bit. I think it seems that this one's vanishing out behind. Oh, turning alien, abort. There we go, that actually looks something like a hand, though. Hands aren't horrible, you just need to take the time to really think about them, which makes them horrible because no one wants to do that. Also, at some angles, they really are a pain. Let's see, we'll go back to up to our 3 for this one. Let's actually, no, hold on, one more thing. I'm gonna drop to a 2 and go a little bit lighter for this detailing here. Didn't drop to a 2. There we go. And you gotta just remember with patterns is that they have to follow the same bends of the fabric that everything else does. It's a good way to add a lot of like liveliness to your art pretty quick, is just to make sure that you pay attention where bends are. Like I know there's a crease there, and I'm going to make the creases a little bit lighter. But yeah. I feel like I'm losing too much detail if I do it like that. Maybe we just do like stripes. There we go. Some diagonals across it. There, that with the low number of pixels, that's fine. We don't need to do anything crazier than that. Okay, back to normal. The actual V of this isn't anything crazy. Got a good undershirt. Good. Okay. Use roughly the same color for that. There's the actual inside of the V. And then this other line I drew is really more the outside that's got all like the decorative going on with it. There we go. Again, this sort of needs to follow the wrinkles. I can even imply that it's sort of folded over, which is good. That's handy. Patterns on like big flowy fabric are actually really nice. Like, yes, they make it more complicated, but they can help you show the shape of the fabric when you normally couldn't. Like this open space here, yeah, I could add some creases and stuff. That helps a little bit, but if I just had a pattern running over it, with this line, suddenly you understand the exact shape of like how this is bending and folding a lot more. And it looks a little less forced than the low detail creases that I've been doing so far. Just something to think about. However, this, doesn't actually have a pattern in the reference, and I'm not trying to add one right now. This isn't a redesigning Melina stream. I'm sure people have done those. I am just going to wing it on these, though. I don't need exact representation. I don't think it would be helpful to have it. Light curve, still affected by gravity. Let's see. Okay, this is mostly going to be me adding similar details. I doubt there's going to be a lot more to say for a little bit. So I guess updates on other stuff. I am still slowly catching up on, the entire history of anime and manga that I didn't pay attention to until recently-ish. So to that end, I think I'm up to date on Mob Psycho 100. Surprisingly clever show. I wasn't a huge fan of One Punch Man, truth be told. I didn't get too far into it. I haven't given it the full 3-episode test. I just found it to be way too gruesome. But this has the humor and the tense moments without quite the same level of gore, and I've been enjoying it. The powers do feel a little bit erratic at times, I will say that. A little bit like they're just making them up on the go, but that's kind of the thing for all stuff like that. Like, even you think back, so many of these shows, it's like there's a magic system that has normal logic, and then everyone has a unique ability that makes their magic system like way more convoluted. Like, think about JoJo stands. Those all have different powers, and it makes sense in the story, don't get me wrong, but it adds a level of just wild complexity. I'm gonna try to pick up the pace on this just a little bit. Or anyone asks why I'm not trying to replicate the actual pattern on this, because it would just turn into a horrible mess of pixels, like completely unrecognizable pixels. Both a skill issue and a slightly too zoomed in to do that sort of thing issue. Okay, let's see. I guess there's also one little band up here. Yeah, see, this will help give a little more texture to these parts. Guess I need to rethink where this arm is. Let's get out of detail mode a little bit and back into rough shaping mode. Because I moved this piece in here. Oops, I'm on the wrong color. That explains some things. This side maybe even needs to be kind of like scooched up. Ah, there we go. And then this will be the one that sort of caught a billow. There we go. That's fine. Okay. And we're going to go back to 2s. Some of the leather work that's on this hand here. That extends sort of over this hand itself. Back to normals. Okay, good. Another hand. Okay, so then the thumb is going to sort of like curve. Not like that again. That's fine. Blade fingers are so much harder to figure out. Like, that looks a little less good than that. Let's zoom in here a tad more. If we can't tweak that. Part of that, one thing we can do is give the actual fingers different poses from each other, and then it becomes a little harder to notice if you got like the size on one of them wrong. We can say that the fingers are sort of curling in on this one too. That's fine. This one kind of goes in behind that one even. Uh-oh, I think I accidentally just drew got him. Went and did it to myself. Why would I do such a thing? That's fine. It's a little jarring, actually. Not a bad representation of it, but like, Okay. Well. Options. I think what I'm gonna do, because this is dumb and I kind of want to put it in the thumbnail. So let's just snatch that and copy it. And then hide that. And no one will suspect a thing. Then let's maybe have another go at this. Just one more, I hope. There's sort of the thumb. There we go, normal finger. And longer normal finger, and then this one we're kind of bend in a little bit. Pinky Finger will not be appearing in this movie. Okay. Make this a little bit longer to account for the long hand, and there we go. It's not quite as good as the other one, but it's recognizably decent. So I am going to stick with it and not mire us down in this too long, because we've already been here an hour. What? Uh-oh. I'd best hurry things along then. Just turning into white noise there. Okay. One thing I do want to do, real quick, we'll go back to this color. I want to make these, any internal wrinkles that aren't part of the outline, I want to make a little bit finer. Just so that they're not as much of a distraction. So it feels like there ought to be one there. Nothing quite as crazy as that, but like a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, maybe I'll just leave it like that. There we go. That gives a little more depth, giving it a border separate from the outer edge. Makes it actually look like a wrinkle. Okay. There we go. That's a little better. Did I get this one? Thought I did. No, that's fine. Okay. I guess the other note is that this belt should be a darker color. Technically have an edge here. Once again, I'm claiming artistic license on the belt shape. We'll just get a roughly knot-like form there, and I think it'll just sort of work. It just works. Looks a little like a Space Invader, but that's okay. Oh, right legs. As I recall, the legs are back to this sort of darker color, same as... Obviously, I'm not trying to match the colors one-to-one. I'm just trying to make it look reasonable in this palette, and let me tell you, this is going to make shadows interesting. Let's see. Don't want threes for these borders. Don't remember the boots at all. I'm going to sort of stick with this one that I made up. I mean, definitely remembered perfectly. I'm a master of Elden Ring, 100%. Absolutely. And definitely remembered the exact outfit of every NPC, down to the width of their boots. Yeah, 150 hours in, that's never happening. If we were to see any of this, it would be tapered sort of like that, really. Maybe you'd see, like, foot. Unlikely. It's a stretch, and honestly, I don't think it really works for the pose. We'll just have to trust that it's clear enough where the other leg went. This should help a little bit. Okay, down to the part that I don't want to do. So actually, let's not do it. At least not entirely. Let's think about... Oh man, it's still there on this one. Fine. I guess we won't really have the full cloak going, but we can still get this lighter one. Whoa, where are we going? Found it, okay. Let's see. We want 3 for the outline, we'll do 2 for any inner stuff. There you go, that roughly does that, and this side will kind of tuck into it. Not how the other image did it, but it is sort of how this particular zoom up of the face is doing it. And it's closer to how I typically end up drawing this sort of thing anyway, so I personally, I find it easier to draw like this. So yeah, that'll do. Kind of tied together there. Okay, back to the default tone for, I guess, skin and such. This is so not going to be recognizably Melina, except for the outfit. Okay, face always has so many details. We gotta make it a 2. There. Hair's gonna be 1 lighter. Means it's gonna match the scarf and we're gonna have major contrast issues. Cool. See if I can't make this like a little more true to twisty hair then too. Maybe if we don't have the hair all the... Well, no, I kind of like that this gives it more of a 3/4-y look. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, cheapers. No, not that much zoom. Okay, there we go. That'll do for that. If I put away the back behind it, this is... Man, how do I always get the head size wrong? Every single time. Luckily with digital, that's a little bit easier to save. Although there's one thing with the hair I'm going to have to tweak, which is fine. I always like misestimate and make the head much too small for what it's on. I don't know why. I do it every single time. Really nasty with pencil or pen if I'm trying to do just a quick thing. And it's just like, well, I guess that's not happening. Hair needs to overlap the cloak. This has maybe gotten to be ever so slightly too much hair. Not that I would say there is such a thing, but there might be such a thing. Okay, let's see. Thankfully, Melina's outfit is comparatively simple for an Elden Ring character. You could try to capture the actual expression on the face a little better. I think that's the last thing I'm going to do while messing around with the lines on this. She's very stoic. Part of the issue is that the face is looking a little too flat. Let's pick the nose up. This is turning into weird pixel art at this point. I'm It's like too tall. Oh, there. That should also help. A little too tall and a little too... Okay, cool. Now the issue is just the neck is a little too long, so we're gonna sort of do what we did before, but just scooch this down a bit. And then just kind of rework the hair a little bit, and then I'll stop futzing around with this. There we go. That's that. I'm gonna give it like some real basic colors and shading. Nothing crazy, because I've got one more thing I want to do this stream, and we only got 45 minutes left. But first, I'm going to suggest I'm going to take a quick little 3 to 5 minute break, get some water, suggest y'all do the same, and we'll be back here in just a few moments. Howdys and salutations, y'all! Jumping back into it. Sorry about the long break, but hope y'all got a chance to rehydrate and do all you needed to do. Okay, so we got 40 minutes left. I could go through and do colors and shading and all on this, but frankly, I don't think that's going to define it that much. This is a pretty line-heavy one. One of those legs is clearly at a weird angle. It's fine. So instead of that, let me folder these. Let's see. Melina 1. Instead, I want to try something a little different. And let's see. We're going to leave all that there. Yeah. And then just as a comparison, let me see if we can do something in a specific style. It's not necessarily the style I'm going to go for, but it's something that'd be fun to sort of mess with. So, where did that new layer go? Did I even create it? I didn't. Okay, cool. Let's see if we can't do something a little more chibi. Still with the same pose, but with chibi proportions. Just to think about it and see how it ends up impacting things. So first off, chibi head, which I want to define first because like figuring out relative head sizes is kind of a big deal for like converting to chibi proportions anyway, at least based on the limited guides I've seen. I'm not an expert on any of this, obviously, but from what I know, how about this? The easiest way I know to do it is based on the head size. So instead of having this come as far down, chibi faces tend to be a little bit more just like widen the cheek there and then just bring it down here so they're not super tall. They're wider than they are tall typically, or at least compared to a normal human face. So we've got our chibi head height. So let's see, do we want to lean into it or do we want to really lean into it? Leaning into it too much, we might lose the pose. But honestly, yeah, let's lean all in. Okay, so we want really the counter length there. And I guess actually, it'll still be of the traditional. We basically want one head length here, just kind of eyeballing this. And then thinking about it, the legs would probably be roughly the other one. So yeah, okay, we'll do two heads. We won't do one head tall, because those bodies end up being tiny, tiny. Okay. But it's useful to know, we've still got our proportion guide roughly in here. Nothing too crazy with it. See if we can. Parallel to that, the part that needs to tilt is this. There we go. I think that's part of what was off last time too. Okay. Just like a real miniature version, and I'm just gonna kind of wing this. I'm not trying to stick to quote-unquote my style or anything. We're just gonna sort of give it a go. So knowing that the arms are really only gonna end up being like this long. This is gonna be a funny one to draw. Chibi base. I'm still gonna go through a lot of the same process steps just because that's sort of how I know how to do it. Okay, there we go. Chibi outline. I swear I was clicking on that like 9 times before it activated. I'm not just staring at it like absent-minded, like click the text, click the text, click the text. No, I'm like spam clicking until it does it. Right, don't need this. Yeah, we can probably dim that one down a little bit. Let's see. Okay, I do still want a little bit the clothes ref, but the other thing, not papyrus though. The other thing that we can look at though is now that we've drawn it once, we've got a rough idea of where stuff should go, which is nice. Let's see. Going got belt. Well, no. Let's make sure we actually maintain the pose a little bit. So let's bias it towards this funky angle. Nope. See, I'm losing it with that one. Let's go back to basics. Here's our center line with, well, actually, really with this. There's our center line. Okay, I may end up moving the head back on this one a little bit even. We'll see. Got this here. And man, I've not been getting my like somewhere the transition from the basic shapes into the final one is not landing today. I don't know what's up with that. Not something I usually struggle with this bad. Let's see. There we go. That's better than like a little bit more back there. Okay. That's closer to what I would expect. I wonder why I just couldn't get the hang of that earlier. So we can really exaggerate these a little bit now. Some elbows going. Interesting. I think I put the bump on the other part of the arm. No, okay. No. It's so small that we're not going to get the full detail, unfortunately. We'll do that. I'm thinking about head location. I'm going to basically trace the head. I am going to do this whole like wide cheek thing. Put this out a little bit. Bring this in a little bit. Slightly narrower. But then I'm also going to select just this layer. I'm going to scooch it all over a tiny bit. Head positioning is just always kind of hard. There we go. I think that works better. Especially when the head is proportionally so crazy compared to everything else. Okay. Yep, there's a neck. It just doesn't matter much. Okay. Chibi clothes. We'll go ahead and make the outline dimmer and then hide the base layer completely. Oh wait, no, I need some of these face details. Dagnabbit, okay. I've done that before I moved it. Already got this one. There we go, that's better. I do think I want this line to imply that they're looking more up and away from us a little bit. There we go. There we go. Deeper proportions. Real weird for the faces, gonna be honest. Need to be up here. It doesn't super matter. The eyes are gonna be stinking huge. Okay. Let's get, or I guess I'll call this Chibi detail instead. See, this is what I meant though. I wanted to actually do a unique pose because even though it was harder and didn't turn out as good, I think I learned a lot more than if I was just copying the pose direct over. Because that's part of why this is going so fast. I'm just like, hey, I figured out the pose already. Boom, 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 done. But that's not really what I want to do. So, we've got sort of belt. Besides the belt, that's sort of the interesting part. Tunic. Make it a little more dynamic than that. Nothing crazy though. Chibi tends to trim out unneeded details, which is usually a good thing, to be fair. There, that's what we can do. We can make it flare more on this side. That's what it should do anyway. Also means it's a little easier to figure out physics and stuff when I'm just like, oh, yeah, fewer details to mess with my head. Boom. Got it. Just have to make sure these don't end up looking like shorts. No matter. Got the boots. I think the foot needs to go more down. I think that was part of the issue last time. There we go. Then we got the scarf up here. I really want this to sort of be like over here. Have this one kind of fold under it, rather than lining up exact. There we go. I'm a little volume. Not just loudness, mind, but actual shape. Okay, back to the tunic. Zip that in. Roughly the same thing we did before with that. And then I guess skin tone again. Or for the first time, rather. Actually, no. Leather bracer tone first. Keep this one to a real simple shape. Then like a little skin tone for the actual hand. I'm not going to do anything crazy with the hands. Other than maybe make this one in 2 point. I think we're losing a little detail in 3. There we go. That's fine. Yep, okay. Ooh. Right, that's the brush tool, not the pen tool. Got it. Okay, faces. Nab faces. Okay, let's... What about eyes? Really ought to do these in a 3. That's not the right mouth. Oops, nope, hold on. I just remembered an important detail. This eye is not open. For reasons. Lore reasons that I won't spoil. Might be the one time that it's actually right to use this yellow. It'd be for this part. Then we'll be back to a darker color. Let's see, back to this, that. Now let's actually put some proper effort into this hair, shall we? Because it's kind of chibi-fied, I'm not going to worry as much about the physics on it. Just going to try to have some fun with it. Because, let's see, I'm going to need to get the actual, like, body, like, not body, but the skin part in here at some point. Right. This should actually be, like, higher and then pretty quickly go low. Same thing on the other side. Yeah, okay. Okay. Maybe using too thin of lines for this part, but that's okay. a long enough drawing any hair, and I always end up eventually slowly turning it into Nagito Komaeda's. Not what I wanted. There we go. That gives some interesting curl to it, but that's still not really what we need. That helps. Actual depth. There we go. Still bad, but better. Okay, let's see. And we can get some details comparatively easily. There's just not as much space for it to go wrong. So I'm going to worry less about folds, although where they are, I'll still try to keep them. Let's see. There we go. That's got a nice pattern to it. Right, the tunic has a split, of course. Let me get that back. Gonna keep these patterns pretty quick. Sorry, I just realized I'm like going silent because I'm just intently focused on like do the patterns. And that's not really helpful. Okay, let me try to talk through what I'm doing still. Let's see. Okay, so I forgot that this tunic is actually split. So it's gonna have some interesting physics. That's okay. I'll do a little less on this one. Let's see, I do still want it to look like this is kind of curving under and away from us though, so that'll work. Right, no, it was still this pen. Like a sort of quick shading in there, that's fine. Oh, and yeah, of course, I've got to get this whole dealy bob in here. This is kind of an essential thing. Okay. So I can tell I went to too much detail in some of the pieces. Let's go ahead and hide the lines behind it. Yeah, like that's not working. Interesting. I think the point on the bottom of the face is doing more harm than good. Let's swap that out, methinks. So 1, 2, dark. Well, these grays are a good gradient. They're just not the most fun color combo to work with. So maybe I'll have to test out some other ones here in the coming days. That's a-okay with me. See, it doesn't make sense for the hair to do that. Believably do this. Not believable by physics mind, but you know, believable by the eye. Oh, and I guess there's still. Oops, too dark. But yeah, you can see this took like 15 minutes. The other one took over an hour, and a lot of that time was working out the pose, to be fair. But even so. Let me just get a little more. Nope, not that one. We need the higher contrast. Make it clear what's going on with the ear. There we go. Like, it's more expressive, quicker, easier. I do want to try different face styles a little bit. Cartooning faces is always an interesting thing, something I need practice on. And I do think the belt actually looks good, but these sections I should just go with like a slightly simpler pattern to it. I.e. just color it in. That might, like, with a lighter color though. There we go. a smaller brush too. Nope. Maybe with this one? Might end up looking too dark. That's honestly probably still okay. I'm just trying to get like a little color going on these. That's fine. Shouldn't be doing this on this layer. But that's okay. Like already that like you can see that a little better. Well, I shouldn't, again, this is mainly because we're just testing stuff. Normally I'd want to do this on a different layer. Actually, I think a lighter color as sort of the, yeah. And then sort of same deal for the other side. Lighter color as the subdividing lines. There we go, that's even starting to get like a little balance to it in the colors. Boots and such. In the loosest possible sense. There we go. There we go. Like now I would, you know what? This hair is interesting. I do want to try different hair though. I think that's an area where we could improve. Obviously, head and face shape could use a little improvement. I didn't quite lean into it enough, I think is the issue. And the weak line sizes aren't helping. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get our selector tool. And we're just going to borrow all of this for a minute. Let's see, one piece I don't want to borrow. You know what, actually, let's do that. Let's just grab the whole head outline. I'm going to take this, and I am just going to put it over here. Boom, option 1. Let's try another option. We can bring back our sort of outline shape, and maybe do some different stuff with it. What do y'all think? I think that's what we're going to do. And we'll keep up with this. I guess we'll just do this Melina to the end. Okay, good. So we didn't have time for Nagisa or any of the others. We'll try to do a little faster as we experiment with different drawing styles. This is something that I want to keep refining, and I'll probably keep practicing tomorrow, even off stream. I'll do some practices in pencil and pen, because I find that's easier for me, but obviously a little harder to share. So that's probably where I'll focus my time there. Okay, let's see. Back to pen, back to Millipen. I'm going to go for the 3. I think that part of the issue is I was getting too much hair detail and not emphasizing the important bits. Important bit 1, that is kind of curly. Honestly, I think that style of curling it isn't even going to do me any favors with the chibi-ish look. Go for kind of wavier. And just lean into it on this. Yep, that's already better. Step 2. Really, really lean into this, I think. There we go. There's that. And then without the base, I already like that better. Less detail means that it, like, honestly, the secret was just less detail. And that's something that like, picking and choosing which details are important is the hardest part of this, for me anyway. I'm just like, I see a thing, I want to draw it, and it's like, yeah, but that thing isn't important, and it'll distract everyone from the stuff that is. Like eyelashes are probably an excellent example. Yeah, I can include them, but they don't really add that much to Melina's design in this case. So yeah. And I can go ahead and shade in the background hair a little bit. Make sure it's extra dark. in the shadows. Give it like its own little bump. That's fine. Okay, cool. If I wanted any detail lines here, it would just be this section right there at the root, and probably nothing else. Like, if we wanted to tweak this a little bit, we could add some spikes a little bit, but I'd want to make sure that I'm matching the level of detail and size and everything to the rest of it, and I just don't think that that's really working right now. So I'll leave it more like this. I think that's better. Looks cleaner too. I wonder if I could do something similar with the whole body, just like a real quick, like 3-point. Now that I've sort of seen what it's supposed to look like, I can pick the exact stuff to emphasize. Maybe it's not even worth having much there. Like, just leave, make it drapey, but don't make it too wind dangly. Slightly. Whoop, that's too much. That's not slightly wider. That's much, much wider. We just do the wide line for that. We go back to this. Like a 5 and just sort of rough in the leg. Kind of liking that silly leg style. You just leave it like that. Single line for each of these details. You can still sort of get the V pattern, but maybe not the crossbars. We'll see. Maybe they're worth keeping, but just like real faint. And just like one of them. Or, yeah, like that. Just that. That's not even what they look like, and it's the wrong color. Just simple and to the point. There we go. See, this is the thing. So there's one goal I have when I'm trying to think of designs for like kind of cutesy ones like this. If I ever want to design stickers or something and start an Etsy, that's mostly why I think about these, because I think that'd be fun sometime. But not quite the lightest one. Let's go one up from that. I like to think of like they talk about the minimum viable product a lot in business. Like, what's the smallest thing that still achieves the goal that we could sell? Because you don't want to necessarily go all out on everything, at least not on your first go. That's for version 2 or 3. For version 1, you just need the smallest thing that you can make happen, so that you don't run out of money before you prove that it's actually a good idea. And that's basically what I'm sort of aiming for with some of these like cuter designs, is like, what's the minimum viable like character where it's still recognizable, the pose and mood are still clear, and who it is still clear, but really nothing more than that. Like, no additional things beyond what is needed to make out who it is. And that's something that I'm obviously still working to improve. Like, noses are often optional in that. Nose or mouth could be optional. Usually not losing both, although I guess if you think about stuff like, what's that show, like Comey Can't Communicate, gets away with, like, they use the lack of a nose or mouth as a storytelling tool, which is kind of an interesting approach to it. Let's see. Yeah, a little more hair spike with this style would be good. Make it pop a tad more. Not much else going on. We'll see. We'll see if that ends up being a mistake. Probably. I'm really only going to draw like the little mark over there. And we'll stick to just real basics. There. Like, that's even simpler. And it's not quite as cutesy. The big head's doing some favors for this one, but I think the face really gets the mood across. Yeah, actually, I may bail on that nose. That's just kind of funny. I'll tweak the hair a little bit. But yeah, this is sort of thing. We're when I say that I'm trying out my style, this is just sort of messing around, seeing what I can do now. I'm doing some fan art, and then going forward, we'll probably do more fan art for Friday at least. And then Monday, I make no promises because I may or may not be unable to use my laptop. Tuesday, though, hopefully, then we'll be back at this again, and I'll do some style studies. This time, not for the full technical style like we did with RPG. Not that I got the full depths of that going, mind. But specific parts of the style. There's some very cutesy pastel ones that I kind of want to draw inspiration from, and I want to see specifically proportions is one thing, and I want to see the texture they use for shapes. So, like, do they have lines for the outline? Do they have solid flat colors? Are they using, like, kind of a, like, spotty brush that looks like it's drawing on paper and not quite getting everything? Something more like this. Something like this. Huh. Oh, I mean, even it's got the paper texture under it. So, like, that's what I want to see. Okay. Fascinating. Anyway. But so that's something that we'll want to do a little bit later on, and then of course, once Halloween's done and passed, the following week we are going to get into Blender. I've just got some stuff that needs to happen in October, and like I don't have the time to do proper Blender prep. But next month so far looks good to actually have a go at it, and it lines up nicely with a lovely little thing called the Huevember Challenge, which is, well, it looks fun anyway. I have no idea if it's actually fun. But like, I think it'd be a good one for Blender because messing with simple flat colors and 3D shape movements can actually be a really good combo. Let's see if I can't extrapolate this down even further. I'm gonna keep going, methinks. We've got a few minutes here. I don't really have the time or wherewithal to do like another proper one. But let's see if we can't just keep on keeping on with this. Yeah. We'll just do like really light on the detail. I get the funky crow thing going on over here. Just, it wasn't really the right face color, was it? Oh well. A little bit of a clear scarf. And the actual cloak pattern, of course. We'll get kind of the V. Get the real thin, like, lines on either side of it. The trick with these smaller chibis is they're not just, well, smaller. I need to make sure that I'm also intentionally decreasing detail each time, or else it's just a mini version of the one before, and that's not what I'm really trying to do here. Less detail. So we're gonna have just like an emoji of, no, not an emoji, but like just the pure distilled essence of character. That end. What we need here is these shapes, and then just at the end, small little dot. Really even just the point, if I can do it. Like a little triangle. Yeah, that's fun. Belt. Same deal here. I do still like having the darker color below on this. I think that's worth maintaining into this final version. Let's see. And then we want this kind of color to border it and sort of define its edges. Again. But then yeah, after that, color all this in basically. I shouldn't be doing with vector lines, but that's fine. Definitely not using the vector tools to their utmost on these little silly drawings. We could even have another one over there. I feel like this one's starting to lose the pose a little bit, though. Just a hair. Which is fine. We're definitely getting way down in there in the detail. Also, it's starting to look like a zombie. That's unfortunate. A little bit of a detail line to help with that. Make sure that this actually sits on the shoulders and not above the shoulders. Okay, I feel like that one we're starting to cross too far into the other realm. The other realm being oversimplified to a fault. But I'm going to keep going anyway. We got 3 minutes left. I definitely need a lighter color for this. Okay. Belt. Let's see. Finicky-ness. So small, I'm going to have to rely on Shadow for some things. And he's a notoriously unreliable hedgehog. Let's see, we'll just do like a little hand point. Even that might be excessive at this point. Slide in Shadow hand point. And let's see if we can't keep the hair going still. In its super basic form. Got some hair basics, and hair basics. German, that means Mr. Basics. I mean, no German would ever think that's what you were saying, to be fair. Okay. Yeah, we're definitely losing out on some stuff now. Tiny gremlin. That's fine, though. It is a far cry from the original, but it still keeps the pose actually more believably than that original one. Easy representation. It's kind of interesting. So we'll have to find a sweet spot, keep testing with some of this stuff and tweaking. But honestly, I think the best middle ground was probably this one. Like the face obviously could use a little more detail maybe. Not even sure obviously is the word there. Face shape maybe could use some tweaking, and the hair I think is better on this, like the second tier. But it's I don't know, it's interesting. Gives us some stuff to work with. Okay, well, I think that I have sort of run out of energy for tonight, and the timing on that is pretty good because we're just about at 10. Yeah, it's the problem with these actually trying to improve the art is they take so much more focus. Like the sword streams were fun, but they were also nice because they were Well, not easier, especially not the earlier ones, but by the time I had done a whole bunch of them, then they felt easier. So hopefully we do more of this, and later in the month this will all feel much less of a hassle. But for now, I am pooped, so I am going to wrap it up here, and hopefully I will see y'all next time. Remember, that's not tomorrow, that is on Thursday. Same Twitch place, same Twitch channel. Hope to see y'all then. Have a good one.